Michael Covington requested to look at lava lakes on Google Earth, and then AV requested that we look at the African Great Lakes on Google Earth, and they both wanted it whispered. So I was like, this is the perfect combination, right? Because there's a lot of lava lakes in Africa along the Great African Rift, where the African Great Lakes are located. So I thought I would combine those. And if you enjoy this poking around with Google Earth, I do this a lot for my channel members. So if you enjoy this, you can always click the join button right down there and check out my exclusive channel member videos. But before we start talking about lakes and things around Africa, let's talk about the Great African Rift. You can see it from space here, almost like a line that comes through here, and then you can see the lakes wrapping around this way. This is because this tectonic plate is ripping in two under the surface of the Earth. This piece of land is ripping apart and is going to drift out into the Indian Ocean and become an island. But that's not going to happen for like millions upon millions of years. It's going to be a very long process. But that ripping creates a really interesting landscape along the line, which includes lots of lakes because it's ripping, lots of volcanoes because the Earth's center is coming up through that crack, and lots of other really neat formations. So let's start off. I've tagged a bunch of lakes and lava lakes, including a bonus lava lake, which maybe I untagged that. We'll look it up. But let's start off. Oh, I did not tag Lake Malawi. Well, remind me, okay? But we're gonna start looking at the lakes, starting with, of course, Lake Victoria. Lake Victoria is the largest lake in Africa. I thought it would zoom in for me, but it's not. The largest lake in Africa. It is a freshwater lake. Technically, it's one of the sources of the Nile. You could technically go further south to other rivers flowing into Lake Victoria, but it's kind of like a consensus that the Nile starts up here. At least the white Nile. The blue Nile starts in Ethiopia. Hopefully I got that right. But let's take a look at beautiful Lake Victoria. See some fishing boats there ready to go out to this huge, huge lake. It looks like a big old crater, but I don't think it is. I think it's just a regular lake. Look, we got some ferries taking some cars across the lake there, probably from Kampala. Look at this reflection of the clouds on the water. Isn't that beautiful? A little bit swampy there. Oh my goodness, look how serene this is. Absolutely stunning. This reflection of the sky and the tree. It's almost Bob Rossian, like a Salvador Dali meets Bob Ross. How gorgeous. These sunsets are something else. And then of course during the day it's also very beautiful. Sun shining across Lake Victoria. Little choppy waters there. There we go, Lake Victoria. Yeah, Kampala, the capital of Uganda, is located just along its shores there. Very big city. There's of course a loud something or other. Sounds like a car or something outside. No, it's an airplane. Okay, let's wait for the airplane. Alright, airplane's gone. While I was waiting for that, I was zooming out looking at all the different angles, and you can see right here the division here between Uganda, this is Kenya, and this is Tanzania. So the lake is like split in half between Uganda and Tanzania, and then Kenya has this shoreline right here. So it's in all three countries. You can see a big dam right here. But we're not going to talk about dammed lakes, man-made lakes. We're going to talk about the African Great Lakes. So the little siblings to Lake Victoria are Lake Albert and Lake Edward, which is, that's a weird word because Albert and Edward were not Victoria's siblings. Well, Albert was her cousin. Edward was her son. Her cousin slash husband, Prince Albert. And then their son, lakes named after Queen Victoria in Africa. She was reigning during the time when colonizers were naming everything. That's how we have Victoria Falls and all that. There's a lot of places called Victoria around the world. So let's head over to Lake Albert. You can see Lake Albert is on the border with Uganda and the DRC, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Let's take a look at Albert's slideshow. Lake Albert. I should be reading you these facts. Here, let's go back to Victoria. Let's read the facts. It says Lake Victoria is one of the African Great Lakes with a surface area of approximately 59,947 square kilometers. Lake Victoria is Africa's largest lake by area, the world's largest tropical lake, and the world's second largest freshwater lake by surface area, after Lake Superior in North America. Isn't that interesting? I love superlatives like that. Alright, Lake Albert, right here. Lake Albert, originally known as Lake Mwitanzige by the Banyoro, Nam Ofoyobonyo by the Alur, and temporarily as Lake Mobutu Sese Seko. We're not going to talk about that. Is a lake located in Uganda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. It is Africa's sixth largest lake and the second biggest of Uganda's Great Lakes. Yeah, this was a very terrible person, so we're not going to talk about that. But here's beautiful Lake Albert. Oh, look at this savanna here, the acacia trees along the shoreline. I saw there's a national park right nearby. Maybe we'll go look at that too. Standing on there, your toes are going to get wet, dude. Be careful. Don't want your toes to get wet. That is not Lake Albert. That's Canada. This looks, that's a factory. That's not Lake Albert. Maybe there's a Lake Albert in Canada. Wow, there's a water spout. Do you see it? The wind is swirling around the low, high-pressure clouds here and created a water spout. Just basically a tornado, but on water. And it's made up of water instead of like dust and wind, like a tornado. That's pretty cool. The little beach huts here. Wow, that's a gorgeous photo. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh, Africa is something else, isn't it? All the rain coming down from this mountain. Look, the shores of Lake Albert. That's fantastic. Yeah, you can see Murchison Falls National Park is right along there. But we'll save that for another time. Maybe someone wants to request National Parks and Reserves of Africa someday. Let's move on to Lake Edward. Lake Edward is one of these smaller African Great Lakes. It is located in the Albertine Rift, the western branch of the East African Rift, on the border between the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Uganda, with its northern shore a few kilometers south of the equator. Ooh, cool. I love places that cross like lines of longitude and latitude, like official ones. This is definitely a tree branch, but it looks like some kind of alligator creature, some kind of Loch Ness monster or something. Look at the elephants along the shore, and then the water is full of hippos. How amazing is that? That is so incredible. From above, isn't it stunning? Look at that shoreline, that blue water, and those big white fluffy clouds. They got some fish. Of course, you can imagine how important these lakes are to the economy and lifestyle of the people here. There's two big war dogs at the watering hole. Two big old Pumbas gassing it up at the water hole. There's a beautiful canyon. Oh, there's a big stork-looking bird there outside this little village. Little hippos. Well, they're not little. They're very big. The pygmy hippos don't live here. They are very big hippos. western branch of the East African Rift, which is the big crack going through Africa. Lake Kivu empties into the Ruzizi River, which flows southwards into Lake Tanganyika, which we're going to look at next. So all I really know about Lake Kivu is that it's like a resort area in Rwanda. It's like a really fancy vacation spot. Is that a cow? I think so. Be careful, you don't know what's in those waters, little cow. Big fishing boat. You can see their fishing nets there. Oh, that's a beautiful craft, isn't it? Wow. Oh, that's gorgeous. I can see why it's a resort now. It's all forested. Beautiful. The spray behind your boat. That's the DRC flag right there, right? Pretty sure. How beautiful. Do you think these waters are really, really cold? Or not so much, because we're like in the tropics, like near the equator. That's a pretty little island there. Let's look a little closer. I bet you it's cold down here. But yeah, I know along Rwanda it's like a resort kind of thing. You can see the border there, wiggling through. There's a big island right there. Ijwi Island. And it looks like there's settlements on it. How neat that would be to live in the middle of a lake. I bet it's kind of inconvenient, but you have to take a boat everywhere. But nevertheless, that's pretty cool. Next, we're moving down to Lake Tanganyika. Can't believe I know I looked at Lake Malawi. I don't know why I didn't tag it, so I wouldn't forget, but oh well. Lake Tanganyika is an African Great Lake. It is the world's second largest freshwater lake by volume and the second deepest, in both cases after Lake Baikal in Siberia. It is the world's longest freshwater lake. It is also the sixth largest lake by area. Yeah, I know that Lake Tanganyika is incredibly deep. Very much so. And yeah, it's along that crack in the earth. So this lake in Lake Malawi, or Lake Nyasa, depending on where you are, is really long. Hasn't quite widened out yet, but it will eventually, in like millions of years, so don't worry if you live nearby. Beautiful. It's like the Lion King. So pretty. Oh, these guys are, look at all the fishing boats out there. Everyone making their living, catching and selling fish, or maybe just catching it for themselves. Very rocky coastline here. Lake Tanganyika. Look at this guy enjoying the water. Very nice. Lake Tanganyika. See Mahale Mountains National Park right there. Kadavi National Park. There's Lake Rukwa, which I didn't plan to look at, so we're going to skip it. Let's move on to Lake Malawi, which means I have to type it in because I didn't tag it. Because you can't click on lakes on Google Earth for whatever reason. I can't tap on lakes. It has an interesting border though, so we'll take a look at it. But let's read this first. Lake Malawi, also known as Lake Nyasa in Tanzania and Lago Nyasa in Mozambique, is an African Great Lake and the southernmost lake in the East African Rift system, located between Malawi, Mozambique, and Tanzania. Let's take a look at Lake Malawi. I know that Lake Malawi has more fish in it than any lake in the world. And they have hundreds of species of, I think they're called cichlids. I don't know what they're called. Cichlids, I don't know, but they're very tiny, like aquarium fish that you'd get at the pet store. They have like multiple species of it. Looks like they're building like a hotel there or something. Little villages along the shore. Look at that beach. Oh my goodness, how nice. There go the boats, and there's big canoes there. Looks like it's just straight up look at these big waves breaking on the shore there, all white crusted. It must be a windy day that day. Looks like low tide too. The boat's ready to go. How pretty. So yeah, look at this border here. You can see Tanzania right there. This is Malawi. And this is Mozambique. And you can see that there's a bit of a dispute about these islands here. Who claims these islands? Malawi does. These are Malawian islands. That's Malawian. They've got a church there on that tiny rock. That's pretty cool. But you can see, I forgot I was going to show you. Oops, stop. Oh gosh, oh jeez, oh jeez, okay. I gotta calm down. Maybe it was just the islands I was going to show you. I'm still thrown off about why I didn't tag it. No idea. So those are the most famous of the African Great Lakes. There's one more I want to show you though that's going to lead us into the lava lakes, which apparently I also didn't. Oh my gosh. What do you mean I didn't tag it? I absolutely tagged it. 1 second. We're going to hop back up to Kenya and look at Lake Nyiragongo, which is very different from all the other lakes we've seen so far. Look at this. Lake Nyiragongo. Oh, it's actually in Tanzania. Well, then maybe... Okay, never mind. I thought I wanted... Oh. I was going to show you Lake Turkana too. Okay, we'll look at both. Actually, let's start with... Here. Save it. Let's look at Lake Turkana first. That's the one I wanted to show you, but I also want to show you Lake Turkana. Lake Nyiragongo. There's Lake Turkana. Alright, Lake Turkana is a saline lake in the Kenyan Rift Valley in northern Kenya, with its far northern end crossing into Ethiopia. It is the world's largest permanent desert lake and the world's largest alkaline lake. It's pretty wild. It's very, mineral rich and salty. And, whenever I think about Lake Turkana, though, I think of Turkana Boy, like the hominid that they found nearby that they named after this lake in this area. Look at that. Yeah, so not quite as, vivid and pretty. Oh, but she looks beautiful there. Okay, that's pretty vivid and pretty, but, all of the blue, is not quite there because we're more in this desert region. And the lake is really, it's saline, it's alkaline, it's a saltwater lake. Alright, now let's look at Lake Nyiragongo, which is going to lead us into talking about lava lakes. Lake Nyiragongo is a mineral-rich soda lake in northern Tanzania at the border with Kenya. It's a breeding ground for hundreds of thousands of lesser flamingos, despite the highly alkaline state of the striking red waters. It sits below Old Lengai, a soaring active volcano in the Rift Valley. Trails lead from the lake to the Ngorongoro waterfalls, which flow over craggy rocks into a natural pool. So look at this. It is pink Nyiragongo because it's very salty, and you can see the flamingos turn pink because of the food that they eat out of it. You can see all the flamingos there. So yeah, it is a very flamingos have evolved to eat out of it. Oh, cool, giraffes. But nothing else can really live in it because it's so salty and basically it's poisoned. Look at all the salt washing up on shore. All the foam there. They got their donkeys. Cute. Wow, look at that reflection. That's wild. My goodness. Flamingos by the dozens there. comes to lava lakes. I looked through a bunch of lava lakes around the world, like Hawaii and Antarctica, which I might just show you anyway. But Google Earth didn't have any cool pictures of the actual lava lakes. The only ones with really good photos I found were in Africa. So I'm like, bing, bing, boom, that's perfect. So let's read about Old Doinyo Lengai. Old Doinyo Lengai is an active volcano in northern Tanzania. It consists of a volcanic cone with 2 craters, the northern of which has erupted during historical time. Okay. Uniquely for volcanoes on Earth, it has erupted nitrocarbonatite, an unusually low temperature and highly fluid type of magma. I believe it's the only volcano that does that. So let's see. We want to look at I'll just look at all the pictures, I suppose. There's the volcano. Look at the zebras. Here we go. So, lava lake. But it doesn't look like lava, does it? It's whatever that thing was. It erupts that stuff. Pretty wild. You can see all of the years of eruptions have eroded the landscape. Turned like the rocks all white as well. They're going hiking up. So are they. They get all these big weird cone shapes. All this twisted volcanic rock. But the top there, how cool is that? Look at the lake there. Pretty neat. But what I really need to show you, oh wow, look at this, is my favorite lava lake, and like the best example of a lava lake is Lake Nyiragongo in Mount Nyiragongo. Over here. Boom. Please. There we go. Mount Nyiragongo is an active stratovolcano with an elevation of 3,470 meters in the Virunga Mountains, associated with the Albertine Rift. It is located inside Virunga National Park in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, about 12 kilometers north of the town of Goma and Lake Kivu, and just west of the border with Rwanda. So this is just, look at this, a perfect lava lake. Looks like a tiny Mount Doom. Absolutely perfect lava lake. It is like the best example of a lava lake anywhere. And it's so unique, and it's very active. This thing, you can see it spewing in the pictures. It's very active, shooting up all this smoke all the time, pretty much. Look at it go. I don't know if I could live near a volcano like that. I know lots of people do, in like Italy and Mexico, and I guess the DRC, and the Philippines, Indonesia, all over the world, Hawaii. It would make me kind of nervous. Just like having this be your everyday view, like this lady here with her very fashionable skirt. I love this. She's killing it. I don't know, but isn't that the coolest thing? That is a perfect lava lake, right? Right, I also want to show you up here at the start of the rift. Here it is. Erta Ale. You can see that this landscape, I always point it out whenever we're talking about Eritrea or Djibouti or Ethiopia even, how just this landscape is just absolutely ripped apart by the African rift that's happening. And in Ethiopia, it's created the Dalal region, which is the hottest inhabited place on Earth. You can see Dalal is right here. The hottest inhabited place on Earth. It is just absolutely, here, I wonder if I can show you real quick. Dalal looks like this. Like there's some parts that it's like toxic to breathe, and you need a suit to protect yourself, because it's just the center of the earth just coming up and being exposed here. It looks like an alien world, doesn't it? Is that crazy? But we're looking over here at this mountain, Erta Ale. Look at this lava lake. Goodness, it says Erta Ale is a shield volcano in the Afar region of northeastern Ethiopia, which is itself part of the wider Afar Triangle. The volcano is located in the Tanganyika Depression, an area on the border between Ethiopia and Eritrea that is below sea level. Look at that. That's so crazy. Is it bad that I want to touch it? My hand would melt off immediately. It's hotter than the hottest thing. But I don't know. Look at the camels. Cute. There they go. Carrying all their supplies across the Tanganyika Depression. Oh my goodness, it's smoky. You better be careful, dude. Yeah, what an interesting landscape. Oh, that's garbage. Those are water bottles. That's sad. But what an interesting landscape in this part of the world, isn't it? All because of this African rift. And then, of course, I have to tell you the geographer's joke that there's a crack in Djibouti. Alright. Was that everything already? Oh, I went through that way too fast. Well, darn. Well, that was basically a fun little tour of, goodness gracious, African Great Lakes and African lava lakes. But I figured I would show you my favorite lava lake besides Lake Nyiragongo. Let's go see Mount Erebus, which is here in Antarctica. Nothing to do with Africa, but I think it's just cool because it's in Antarctica, and a lot of people don't know that there's just a straight up active volcano right here in Antarctica, just chilling, just vibing, just erupting. Let's take a quick look at, that's Antarctica. If I showed you this picture and said, where is this? You would be like, like maybe Africa, right? This is in Antarctica. Look at the big lava caves it's created. I know, I think it's Australia or New Zealand that does these flight tours. Let me see real quick. I think it's Australia. Yeah, it's gotta be. Maybe it's New Zealand. Maybe both. I don't know. But they'll do these tours where you get on an airplane and you'll fly over Antarctica and fly back. And this is like part of their territory, so you'll see Mount Erebus on that tourism flight. There it is. There's the lava lake. Isn't that wild? This is in Antarctica. Yeah, this is my favorite. Oh, penguins. Or maybe it's people. Look at that vent. My goodness. Volcanoes are so neat. Look at that ship. It's like the Endeavour out there. There's a person there along the cliff. Mount Erebus, I believe, is the highest mountain in Antarctica, right? Pretty sure. Look at that. Is that bad? I want to touch it. I think those are penguins. I want to touch it. I should not touch it. Oh no, this Minecraft Lego person is falling into Mount Erebus. Oh, some of the underwater goodies around Mount Erebus are really interesting too. And of course the ice caves. That's my favorite, besides Mount Nyiragongo, because Mount Nyiragongo is perfect. Mount Erebus is a very close second. But yeah, that was what I wanted to show you today. So I hope you guys enjoyed. And again, if you like my little random tours around Google Earth where I just ramble and no script talk off the cuff, I do this a little bit often on my channel members. I did one where we looked at stone circles in Great Britain. That was a lot of fun. I nerded out pretty bad there. But yeah, if you want to see more, you can check out my channel memberships. But I hope that you found this video to be relaxing and educational. Tell me which one's your favorite lake or your favorite of the mountains. There comes another airplane. Oh my gosh. Let's end this.